Thanks to the supporters of channel member Dave Clare. Well, I've done some transfers. I thought I understood the designated player thing. I've ballsed up somehow. Please explain. And first off, thank you to everyone who did try and explain it to me in the comments. I did read them all. I do kind of think I sort of understand it now, and as a result, tried to do some transfers. As you can see, I've brought in Kurt Villakazi, because how do you not bring in your 6'4" teenage goal scoring sensation, who, by the way, scored on his debut as well. So Kurt Villakazi is in the MLS. I also brought in Unlove from Stellenbosch as well, who was probably one of the reasons why Villakazi was as good as he was. Those two combined is a beautiful thing. I think we might actually have to switch to a 4-2-4 maybe next season to get the best out of the quick Welsh striker with Villakazi alongside him. Although my temptation is to get Davies maybe playing on the left-hand side. He's a left footer. He could maybe play out there and have him on the left, Unlove on the right, and Villakazi down the middle. And I think that might be a glorious thing. But with those two coming in, excuse the lack of my normal views and stuff. I'm having some major computer issues at the moment. It's being rebuilt at the weekend, so we're clinging on. But I think we can show the designated player thing on here somewhere. I don't think it shows for this match because next match is not in MLS, which is really frustrating. But basically, if you look at the two players we brought in, Unlove, I was expecting to come in as a designated player, which I think he is. Where does it show me? In fact, no, Unlove has come in as a young designated player, which I think is separate to designated player. Villakazi came in as an international player because his salary is lower. So I figured, well, I've not brought... I had two designated players to begin with. I brought in a young designated player, which I thought was allocated differently. And I think I might have been wrong. I might have misunderstood that side of things, because I then, even with that being said, though, I was like, well, I've now maximum got 3 designated players. So I then sold one of my others. I sold João Pedro because I wanted to bring Udara, the centre-back from Stellenbosch, in. We had the deal all arranged. He was ready to come in as well. Is he gone somewhere else now? Why is he not on there? That squad is looking very small. Did he go somewhere else? No. Well, where is he? Either way, we would try... There he is. Utara. Sorry, not Udara. I'm an ignorant monster. But I had a contract agreed to bring him in. But it fell through because I couldn't have him. He was only on like 20 grand a week, which I figured was fine because of budgets and salary cap, and I got rid of a designated player, but it still said I was over the limit. So I'm now wondering if one of the things nobody told me about, and this is my current working theory, is maybe the designated player is per season and you can't just sell one and get that slot back. Is that right? Are we going to have to wait until the end of the season to bring in Utara? Because at the moment, I think we've just got the one designated player. Actually, no, because we've got Asker. And then, who was the other designated player? Chamorro. So we did have 3 before. So is Unlove counting towards the 3? I'm very confused. So yeah, anyone who can help, please help. But that aside, we've started life in MLS really, really well. Again, I don't have any of my custom views because everything is broken. And there's no point adding everything on again because I'm going to have a complete fresh install of Windows over the weekend. So we've got a couple of days without my beautiful views. But yeah, we've started life pretty well, as you can see. We've won our first few matches. We're off the bottom of the MLS, not by a mile, but we're 5 points clear of DC United, and that's nice to see. We're also into the, we got into the quarterfinal of the Leagues Cup, which apparently includes Mexican teams, because we knocked out Club America, which was a big result, because that was one of the teams who we almost went to. But we knocked them out, but then did lose to Tigres. We're not that bothered about the Leagues Cup, though, because the one we want to win is the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, because this is the one where the winner of this gets a Champions League spot. Philadelphia Union are one of the team that's made it into the final. And this other semi-final is us against DC United. And remember, DC United are the only team in the league who are worse than we are. So I'd like to think we've got a real good chance of getting into the final. And from there, we're one match away from the Champions League, which would be jolly, jolly nice. But this is the team we're going to put out there to try and beat DC United. It's Areola in goal, a back four of an injured Aimer, because we are light on players. As you can see, we've picked up a lot of injuries. So Aimer is going to play at left back. We, for some reason, can't call players up from our B team either. If I go to selection advice, it recommends this guy, Sean Jordan. I mean, he's definitely not all that, but he is 6'6". I've called him up to the first team squad from the reserve squad, but it won't let me use him. He doesn't even show on there. So I don't know if he's going to arrive tomorrow. But in the meantime, it says he's already here because it says he's... But there it says he's with Crown Legacy. I'm sure I've already called him up. Move to Charlotte. Can't be moved to Charlotte as he doesn't have a valid MLS contract. He will need his contract renewed to an MLS style before the move can... So I can't call players up from my youth team and my backup squad without giving him a new squad. Giving him a new contract. I don't want to give him a new contract 'cause he's rubbish. I just want him to play today. He can't. So Barton's going to have to play at centre-back, even though he's a right-back. He's going to play alongside Ordaz and then Agba at right-back. Asker, the big boy at the base of the midfield, is going to play alongside Runarsson, and then Mancinelli, Resnek and Unlove starting behind Davies up front. And of course, we've got Villakazi there on the bench to bring on and be a big boy as and when we need him. I don't want to throw Big Kurt in and rely on him too much straight away. One of our best players was already our centre forward, and I don't want to change the tactic too much because it's working. But like I say, I think my plan for next season is likely to be, if Davies is still here, either we shift him out onto the left wing or we go two up top and play him alongside Villakazi. I don't think Villakazi is going to get upset in the 6 or 7 matches we've got left, especially with coming off the bench. And he's young enough, and I think it'll be fine. We'll get him into the first team from next year, unless he keeps scoring every time he plays, in which case we might have to get him in sooner. That's a lovely goal from Runarsson, by the way, to put us 1-0 up, 1 foot in the final. I mean, I don't really know what their goalkeeper's doing. Absolutely flaps at it, but Runnarsson's hit that first time. So although the goalkeeper's made a bit of a balls of the situation, huge credit to Runarsson for being able to hit the ball that cleanly from that range first time and put us ahead in the match, which is jolly, jolly nice. And now we are attempting a longish throw to nobody in particular. That's where we need Villakazi. Asker's a big boy to do the throw, but we then need Villakazi as the big boy to receive the throw. Otherwise, I don't think the long throws really work. Obviously, we can aim for Asker at the corners, so the corners seem to be working okay. But yeah, we need to. It's a process of basically bringing in as many South African players as I can get into the squad. I did look at bringing in some Osaka players, but they're so much more expensive than bringing in the South African boys. It would have been like £8 million to bring in Okada, and we don't need Okada with Davies and Villakazi. I mean, we don't need 3 strikers who are really good. So Okada is going to stay in Japan. I don't think we're bringing any Japanese boys across, but like I say, we'd definitely like to bring in Utara in the close season if I can work out how designated players work. Because should Unlove even be a designated player? He's not over that salary limit. He's within the salary cap. So why is he a designated player? I don't think I designated him as a designated player. And we've got players who are earning over the salary cap who we've bought down below it, even if he is slightly over, which I don't think he is. Can we use general allocation to buy him back within budget, thus allowing us to get a new designated player? Like I say, I'm getting there. I understand it a lot more now than I did 2 days ago. I definitely benefited from having that day of reading the comments and trying to figure things out. But I still think some of the things I'm trying to do, I'm hitting brick walls on. And I don't really want to be in the situation where I can't bring in any more fancy boys. I want fancy boys at the squad. If Unlove and Big Kurt are my only 2 fancy boys, that's a little bit disappointing. As is the way we've conceded that goal, because it's absolute defensive chaos. I don't know why we're not just getting that clear. We're playing head tennis in our own 6-yard box. I don't know how they didn't score there. It's a great save from Areola, but why is Agba not just clearing it properly? And then we get Asker trying to clear it properly. Agba then misses his header. And after a great save before, Areola lets one go past him I mean, he never should be beaten the way he was beaten there. It's a very disappointing way to concede. But then they were pretty pathetic with the goal that we scored. So neither of us really deserve to have a goal yet. It's 1-1 at half time. And I really don't want to bottle this. We've started well. We look like a good team. And this lot are rubbish and look rubbish. But they are outplaying us. They've got a better XG than us today. Although there's Davies and that. I mean, he's offside. It looked like a big chance, but he was offside. I think the reason their XG is as high as it is because they got those multiple chances there as part of the goal they scored. I think it's a little bit not representative of the match as a whole, because obviously if they'd have scored the first one, they wouldn't have got the other two chances. So you should only really be allocating one of them to XG. Unlove is in and Unlove scores. Oh, has that linesman got his flag up? What a plum. Not even any VAR? Hideous. I thought Unlove was making himself a Charlotte legend immediately upon arriving. But it's Villakazi o'clock, isn't it? Time for big Kurt. I mean, Davies has had a rotten game. Kurt Villakazi comes on. And we're also going to change things up on that left-hand side. And we'll also change our left back because he's injured. The guy coming on is rubbish. But at least, I guess, he's fit. That's not good. They've got him behind us again. And that's really frustrating. We should not be... have we got time to go back on those changes and go 2 up top? I think the changes had already gone through. They had. That's annoying. Right, we've got 20 minutes to save the season. I mean, it's not my season to save. I've come in halfway through. We just needed to avoid finishing bottom, which we will. So I'm not devastated if we miss out on this, but it was just a nice little shortcut route, and I love a shortcut route. Runnison with the shot from range again. This time I think it comes off Resnick and unfortunately almost deflected away from goal. We're going very attacking. Get the ball to Kurt. Let's make Kurt Villakazi a hero with bells on immediately. Right, Chamorro's coming on. And you know what? We're going to keep Resnick in there. We'll just go for one holding midfield player. And for my final trick, how tall is Foos? Only 5'11". Right, Foos is going to come on for Barton. I could have brought Smoltz on, but he's not very good at all. We're demanding more. We really shouldn't be losing this match. 39,000 people turn up. Right, this is Kurt Villakazi's moment. Cross comes in. Runnerson's there. I don't know why we're not aiming at Villakazi. Kurt Villakazi was the man to find there. That was his moment, and we've aimed at the wrong guy. We don't quite know how to use him yet, clearly. And it does look like we have bottled the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, which is very frustrating. That's back-to-back cup exits. So we're not winning any silverware this year. And now we've got, 8 matches left to try and get as high up MLS as we possibly can. I mean, there is still an outside chance because of how absurd this league is, and more than half the teams in it get into the playoffs. If we can make up 10 points in 8 matches, so basically if we win every match for the rest of the season, we could sneak into 9th place, sneak into the playoffs and still win the whole thing, which frankly, from this position would make a mockery of the entire nation. So that's my new goal. See, this is one of those things that is just bonkers. Because we want this guy from DC United, Stephen Bonney. He's English, so he'll understand me. He's barely ever played in England, but he started in Australia. He's now in the USA, now plays for DC United. He's 27. He plays in a position we need to strengthen the defensive midfield. We made just a cash money offer for him. Their reply is they want to do a trade proposal. So rather than us giving them the £5 million we offered as money, instead they want me to give them him. Yes, you can have him. And him. Yes, you can have him. Plus 2nd pick in the 2041 draft, which is in 5 years' time. Plus 7th pick in next year's draft. Plus, they want us to give them some of our general allocation money. So I'm like, well, yeah, okay. To my English mind, that's less than I offered. And we get rid of 2 players we didn't want. I love America. In the meantime, we are going to play a league game. Remember, we have to win all of these to make a mockery of a nation. We are making a few changes. Prenka is coming in at left back. He was unavailable for the last match. Aska's dropping down to centre back to partner Barton. Otasawi comes in midfield. He's very old and not very good. That's why we need that guy from DC United. He's going to partner Runnison. Chamorro comes back in behind Davies. Honorat comes back in on the right-hand side for Unlove, and Mancinelli stays in on the left-hand side. But this is what I was talking about before. So we've now got a designated player international. Unlove's a young designated player, and Villakazi is an international player, and we've got a few of them. So how was I able to sign Unlove before letting João Pedro go? Because that got us to 3 designated players and a young designated player. And how come after I sold one of the designated players, I couldn't then bring in another one? That's today's comment for the question for the comment section that I need explaining to me. In the meantime, let's focus on the bit I do kind of understand, which is playing the football matches. So let's just win a football match, because we've been doing really well in the league. The cups have been a little bit of a disappointment, but we've been doing okay in MLS, and fingers crossed that continues today and we do start charging up the league a little bit, because that would make me chuckle. And that's why Honorat is in ahead of Unlove. I think he's offside in the same way as Unlove was in the last match. Do we not have VAR here? Is the ref VAR? He is VARing. Okay. Just not VAR in the cup, apparently. And that time, VAR is on my side. VAR. We love VAR around here. Right, I don't want that. I'm trying to get the league table on there, but can't press the right buttons. Goodness me. Right, Aska plays it across to Agba, and then it goes all the way back to Davies. I don't know why Davies is the deepest player we've got when we have an attacking throw-in. He's our centre forward. This might be why he doesn't score very many goals, which is why, of course, we need Kurt Villakazi to come in and put a cat amongst the pigeons. Good work, Maska. See, 6'4". You can't teach that. We love a big, strong boy. And now Aska again to Prensa. How do we say that guy's name? That is exactly the kind of pass we should be playing for Davies, but he didn't make the run that he should be making. But if Chamorro picks the ball up there like he did, he should absolutely be trying to slot it between defenders for him to chase onto. And I don't know why he's not making the runs. He's playing as an advanced forward. He's fast. I don't know if he's just unfamiliar with the tactic, doesn't like me, team cohesion problems, he's recovering from injury, but the player I thought I was going to have with him is not the player who I am getting so far. But as it stands right now, as you can see, we've narrowed the gap on Inter Miami, who we're chasing in 9th place, down to 8 points with, 7 games to go. It becomes doable if we win today. It does start to look like we could go on an absurd run and actually make it happen. And if we, like I say, if we manage to win the whole thing from here, what's the point of the league season? Just have 5 cups going on and don't worry about having a league. It's a complete waste of time. But we have a corner, the in-swinger, aiming for one of the several big boy options that we have knocking about the place. But unfortunately, none of them able to make contact with it. And it's Montreal who are... And on that note, there's a Canadian Premier League. Why are Montreal in this? I don't understand. That's another question for you. I guess the response to that could be, well, Cardiff play in England, Wrexham, Swansea. I get it. Is it the same reason? The MLS existed before the Canadian League, so there were teams that were in it before Canada had their own league. I think that's why the Welsh teams play in England. Is it? I don't know. Newport. I forgot to mention Newport. Oh, they'll be fuming. Right, Runnison to Chamorro, and now Davies has dropped deep, and there's the run of Honorat, and he bursts into the area. That's a penalty, surely. He fell over. Do we not just automatically get a penalty if one of our players falls over? I'm not sure how I feel about this. And Montreal on the attack again. And I don't like just being 1 goal up. I mean, we saw in the last match, you're not safe at 1-0. That's good work from Chamorro. And now Asker looking for options ahead of him, but instead goes back to the left back. And it ends up with Runnerton. Runnerton's quickly becoming one of my favourites. Chamorro, lovely ball into Davies. This time he plays the ball and Davies makes the run and then scores the goal. That's how those two need to be combining with each other. That's the kind of move and the kind of goal that might keep Kurt Villakazi out of the team, because that's a goal we can't score with Villakazi. We've had a year of it at Stellenbosch. Kurt doesn't do that. Kurt will score headers all day long. And when you're playing with wingers the way we are and overlapping wing backs, that's a huge advantage. But our best player is Chamorro. So if we're going to get the best out of him playing little through balls, we do need a striker who can do that. So I think the 4-2-4 I'm toying with only becomes a thing if we get rid of Chamorro. And I'd like big money for him if we get rid of him. He's one of our designated players. If we have to bin him off to get one of my boys in, I'm up for it. I'm still ready to bring in 2 or 3 more from South Africa. I want to get as many through the door as it will let me have. The fact I could get Kurt in without it counting as a designated player, I don't understand. But I want Utara. And, I imagine Rebello would be handy as well. I'd quite like to bring Rebello in. Deluli, I'd quite like to bring in. So, yeah, I'm happy to bring my boys here from South Africa and just see if a good South African team is good enough to win the North American Champions League. It would be an interesting experiment. Right, Mancinelli scores! And that's 3-0. And that's job done. And when we play this well, firstly, it makes it really frustrating that we didn't play this well in that previous match when Champions League was potentially on the line. But if we are going to play this well, it does make it feel like it's potentially realistic for us to have that run to the playoffs. I mean, XG wise, Montreal are going to be fuming. They're actually ahead of us on XG and we're beating them 3-0. So we're doing all right. I'm getting my boys on. So Unlove and Villakazi are both coming on. And then we're going to bring on Aimer at left back, who played the previous game. He can come back in and we'll just share the minutes between those two, because neither of them are fully fit at left back at the moment. And now Unlove with the chance to break away, and it's 3-on-3, and one of those 3 is Kurt Villakazi, so he counts as 2. Unlove gets it back again. I mean, he gets to run around wherever he wants. He gets so much space. Aimer from range. I mean, it was a decent effort, but the goalkeeper, unfortunately, rascal that he is, was equal to it. It remains 3-0. We're going to make our final couple of changes. Berchimas, hopefully that's the last we see of him. He's on his way out of the club to go and form part of this trade if it all goes through as planned. And Foos is going to come on, and we continue trying to force his development as our one like homegrown young player is Philip Foos at 18 years old. So we do want to make him a thing. But that being said, I'll bring in Utara and Deluli and go with my own boys at the back and balls to Foos, if that's how it has to be. But that is a big win. And now we just need to get a run of them together, a run of big wins. And hopefully when we come back tomorrow, we'll be in a position somewhere towards the end of the season where we can actually ridiculously force our way up into those playoffs, which would be super duper. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much to all these heroic Patreon backers, and thank you very much for watching.